I'm in Charleston, South Carolina, talking to Benton Montgomery, and you're the program director for GrowFood Carolina. And I think y'all are under the umbrella of the Coastal Conservation League. So tell us about your parent organization and about y'all.
Absolutely. The Coastal Conservation League saw the need to preserve the rural resources down here along the coast. They saw the development kind of encroaching and wanted to provide a situation to where farmers could stay on their land and protect this beautiful land, water, and wildlife that we have in the area. And so they created the GrowFood Carolina program, where we are a nonprofit food hub that helps those growers find markets for their different produce, as well as offering services to connect them to different resources like grants, as well as crop planting and stuff like that, with the main goal of preserving as many acres of land for rural use that we can.
Because you've got great farmers, but how in the world could you be a farmer and figure out who was going to, to whom you could, take your products and then get them there, driving all over East Carolina, trying to get
That's
all
right.
that done. And y'all do all of that for them. All they have to do is get stuff here, I believe.
That's right. So we provide the aggregation of storing the food here, and then the distribution. We have the sales team that has great networks amongst all the different restaurants here in Charleston, as well as Savannah, Columbia, Greenville, Hilton Head, and Bluffton as well.
Whoa.
I know, so it's expanded with that.
Really? And so about how many farmers do y'all deal with in this area now, what you think?
So about 100 total farmers, but that does stretch all across the entire state. But with our focus of most of our co-growers that are kind of down here in the low country.
Lots of farmers, lots of restaurants. How do you make it all come together?
So we have an awesome team that is constantly communicating with our growers to find out what their availability is going to be, how the weather's affecting it, how much they're going to have available. And they're communicating with our sales team to find out, okay, it's going to show up on this day, this many cases, and then they're on the phone with the different restaurants and then updating our availability list, which is kind of like a live look in at what we're going to have on site, so that chefs can come to the warehouse, or they can place an order and we'll deliver it to them.
Along the same lines as what y'all want to do, the South Carolina Department of Agriculture promotes Fresh on the Menu, which ties in beautifully with your concerns.
No, it does. And it's all about kind of, providing consumer education around seasonality and stuff like that. We've had a great relationship with SCDA for a long time in helping with those kind of resources.
I follow y'all, and during the pandemic, of course, all the restaurants were closed. And that was the basis of y'all's whole operation here between the farmers and the restaurants. And y'all started some pretty incredible outreach programs.
No, we did, and you're right. It was like all of a sudden there's all this produce that had been planned for the year, and then there were no restaurants to really sell it to at that time. And so we developed the Soil to Sustenance program at GrowFood Carolina, which we bring in funds to then build boxes, or we purchase produce from the farmers with those funds and then build boxes and then work with other organizations to make sure we're getting those out to those in need. So everything was growing and ready to be harvested, and now we had funds to purchase that. The way that we kind of fuel our Soil to Sustenance program is through our direct GrowFood Carolina boxes that we sell to the public and to different donors. They will buy a box and then also donate funds to the Soil to Sustenance program to fund that food access side, which then kind of morphed into our working with the Head Start programs here in Charleston County, where we've partnered with different healthcare organizations like Diabetes Free SC and the MUSC Boeing Children Center for Children's Wellness, and they've provided partnerships and funding for us to purchase produce to then distribute to about 900 or so families on an every other week basis here in Charleston County, to about 13 to 14 different schools. So we have the growers bring all this produce to us, and then we use a volunteer group to build the boxes, and then we distribute it out to the different schools there. And that's been a really big game changer for us on how we're able to plan with certain growers, and then even sell products that we don't sell as much to restaurants, like cabbage, collards, and sweet potatoes. Been able to help us really increase the volume for those type of products,
which the consumers are delighted to have.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think occasionally if there's something in there that's a little bit different, y'all sometimes even have people develop menus or recipes, and you communicate with the children or the parents so that you can get them to try new things?
Right, and so providing recipes has been a big part of that program as well, and making sure to partner with folks who can also providing kind of like education around the nutrition and actually preparing the meals as well, I think is a fundamental part of the process, which is kind of where we got with the virtual taste test that we started about a year and a half or so ago.
A virtual taste test. So let's talk about that.
We will deliver fruit to different schools. So we've worked with different school districts. We've worked with Barnwell, with Anderson, Beaufort, Hampton, several different school districts. We'll deliver the produce directly to the schools, and then the next day we'll jump onto a virtual taste test where we'll talk about the different nutritional aspects, kind of some of the science and history behind different varieties of fruit, and then we taste the fruit together. And then the most fun is taking the questions and answers from the elementary school kids. They provide the real interesting moments there.
Because some of them may not have even had blueberries before, or some of the other things that you provide sometimes.
Definitely, and so they love to learn about the way it grows because they hadn't seen it growing in action. So that's always a fun part as well. And just to get something so fresh versus some of the grocery store stuff, they're always excited about that.
So that's become a major part of your mission statement now.
It has. It absolutely has, and it's really enabled us to crop plan in certain ways, and also just engage back with the community and with the public, and which it also for our employees and teams here really love. And I think you've seen some of them as well, spoken to them, and they love the food access side of things because it feels good. It always feels good to sell to restaurants because you're helping with the growers, but it feels even better when you do the full circle thing and then feed the community like that from the awesome produce we get from our growers in the area.
Benton, the original mission, which was to help farmers keep their family lands in the family and to let restaurants showcase how wonderful the food that our farmers grow is, was already pretty exciting. But now with the sort of sustenance and getting things to people who would never get to go to these fancy restaurants and all that, and getting children to understand what's happening in their local communities, what's being grown and where it all comes from. It's just a wonderful idea that y'all have, and I'm so happy that you've been able to expand it and make it what it is now. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Amanda. We appreciate you highlighting us here in the story as we look to improve as much food access in the area that we can.